Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know what you think about the topic. XRP family, Ripple just got a major regulatory green light in Europe. And XRP price looked at the headline and said, congratulations, now bring the volume. So let me know what you guys think. Today's show is not fake hype. Ripple's MiCA CASP preliminary approval is confirmed. CoinDesk confirmed the story. ETF inflows are still positive. RLUSD utility is growing, but XRP price is still trading heavy around the $10 zone. Today's show, we're talking about what's real, what's bullish, what is overhyped, and what the chart needs to prove next. Before we get started, drop a one-word chat. Are you feeling bullish, cautious, or tired? Because XRP holders have been through more emotional seasons than a Tyler Perry drama. That's what I'm talking about. So before we get into the headlines, going to go through a couple of shorts. You know how we do it here at the BTM Crypto News Network. And then we'll get into the storylines. So let's see what we can see. Let me start that screen share. And here are a few shorts. So this is the BTM Crypto News Network, the X page. Make sure you follow us on X. So let's get to it. This is Jake Cleaver. How XRP 30-day correlation just got revealed. Let's see what Jake has to say real quick.
Been significantly higher than that in that same period of time, continued to trend down, and it's now stabilized around this level. So last 30 days, maybe there's a correlation there, but I don't know that I could say that there's a correlation. XRP has been significantly higher than that in that same period of time, continued to trend down, and it's now stabilized around this level. So last 30 days, maybe there's a correlation there, but I don't know.
So shout out to Jake. Let's keep it pushing. This is Jake. Why XRP needs to be $100 for it to function. Please and thank you.
How do you know XRP needs to be $100 for it to function? Have you been told this, or is it speculation? Both. So if you do the math on it with the available supply and the level of transactions that are going to be required to settle just a portion of SWIFT, you can get to that number pretty easily. If you do the math on SWIFT for just 10% of the network with the available XRP that's out there on the market, it's around a $50 XRP in order to be able to facilitate daily transfer of that. Now, again, that's predicated on XRP being not able to be used more than 5-10 times a day maximum. And that's what was in Robbie Mitchnick's calculator that showed XRP at $10,000. So, again, I'm leaning a little bit on people that are smarter than me that actually helped build the protocol and worked at Ripple. So if you think you know more than them, then that's probably not correct. The other thing I would say is I did have a conversation, the first XRP Vegas, I won't say with who, and they had talked to Brad Garlinghouse and had coffee with him, and $50 to $100 was mentioned in that conversation many, many years ago. So could things have changed since then? It's possible, but I really don't think they have. How do you know XRP needs to be $100 for it to function? Have you been told?
So shout out to Jake for that. And I agree, right? It has to be much higher than what it is. So keeping it moving. This is Crypto Sensei.
It is on us to try to get the Clarity Act over the finish line here. You have the power to send an email today that could change the course of history in the United States for crypto regulation. If you want your crypto to grow into something that we could all dream and really envision retirement here sooner rather than later, you need regulation. You need trillions of dollars to flow. You need institutions using XRP and HBAR and XLM and all these assets at scale. The only way you're going to do that is if they have it written in black and white ink that they will not be prosecuted or they will not be sued by the SEC for using a digital commodity or a digital, whatever digital security. In order for us to get that done, Clarity Act has to see its way through. So let's get it. I'll continue to bring you updates. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Always a pleasure to spend this time with you.
So shout out to the crypto sensei. And he's right, guys. You got to get on the ball, right? Write these guys, send messages, updates, call them. The Crypto Act has to pass, guys. We're falling behind. Japan's coming up. What is this? Europe's coming up. Everybody's pushing forward with crypto but us, right? And I'm not sure if it's because they don't like this guy or if there is concerns about this guy with his crypto holdings, but we were promised crypto reserves, which we have not got. So I don't know. I think it cuts both ways, but we're going to have to get something going. What's cracking? Us. What up, TK Tango Kilo? What's going on with you, fam? Hit the like button. Thank you, sir. Bullish always. They should make a Medea holds XRP. That would be hilarious, bro. Look, we need to start working on the script. Maybe we can do it in AI or something. But this is important 2026 XRP predictions. Let me go back real quick, turn the volume up so we can hear it real good. And let's get back to playing.
About what Monica Long, the president of Ripple, said about the second half of 2026 by December 31st for XRP. Listen up.
Last thing, Monica, if you had to define the moment in 2026 for Ripple and XRP in a few words, how would you describe it?
I would say institutional adoption at scale.
Institutional adoption at scale. Okay.
Yes.
I love it.
That's my, we'll revisit that December 31st to see how it played out.
Yeah, 100%. Amazing. Well, thank you.
XRP institutional adoption at scale. Lock in. Good day for a reminder about what Monica Long, the president of Ripple, said about the second half of 2026 by December 31st for XRP.
So shout out to Monica Long and that update and digital asset investor. I'm trying to log into my dang crypto, but something's weird happening over here. So, paid advertisement, the XRP ETF, nobody's explaining right. XRP glitched to like 60,000. Shut the front door. Seriously? Please and thank you. Man, I wish I could cash out on one of those glitches because that would be crazy. Let me see. What was it? Let's see if we can put my current XRP holdings at 60,000. I know you lying. I know you lying. Please and thank you. But let's see what who is this? Fire Hustle Crypto has to say.
XRP ETF, and nothing in it is financial advice. Now here's the story. XRP spent over a decade fighting regulators, and the only way to own it was an exchange account, a wallet, and keys you'd better not lose. That just changed. Canary Capital launched XRPC, a trust that holds XRP and trades on NASDAQ, so you can get exposure through a regular brokerage account. It can even sit in an IRA where your platform allows it, no wallet, no keys, and no exchange. But understand what you're buying. You own shares of the trust, not the token. Shares can trade above or below the value of the XRP behind them. Fees reduce returns, and there's no staking or yield here at all. This thing can lose money. Full breakdown is on my channel, and read the prospectus before you do anything. Quick disclosure before anything else, this video is a paid advertisement disseminated on behalf of the Canary XRP ETF, and nothing in it is financial.
So shout out to Fire Hustle Keeping it moving. This is Crypto Sensei. XRP could see a massive inflow.
4 biggest crypto assets that have the most products, right? When you have ETF, different products at BlackRock and some of these larger banks, Morgan Stanley, there is opportunity for trillions of dollars to flow in those products. It kind of does hurt the other crypto assets that don't have the ETF products, but that's where the money is going to flow first. When the market turns around, it's going to flow into ETFs. Retail buyers will also come in, and that's when you're going to have a really strong turnaround. Most people understand that when you have 20,000, a million tokens, right? Well, there's probably, tens of 20,000 utility tokens out there, or claiming to be utility tokens. And there's millions of tokens out there when you throw in all the memes and all the junk and all the stuff that, scams and things like that, right? But most of these assets, even if the number was 20,000 or 10,000, most of those crypto assets are not going to survive. They're not going to survive for a laundry list of reasons. Most institutional investors are just not buying Bitcoin. They're buying Ethereum. They're buying XRP.
Yeah, I agree with them, which is what we have been preaching. When the regulation hits, a lot of these cryptos are going to disappear, right? They don't have the regulatory clarity and they don't have the investments behind them, and they are going to disappear. And a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. So, not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. But I would recommend to start looking at altcoins and start divesting out of your memes, because at some point when things circle around, the meme stuff is going to disappear and these folks are going to lose big. It might be 1 or 2 pumps, but after that, it is going to disappear. This is Camila Stevenson. Why I'm stacking my XRP for the long term.
I do like having a little bit of my XRP and my assets. I got HBAR, I got Quant, I got some Ethereum, and I'm staking them for passive income. So also that account for me is long term, because when they open the door for like yield for XRP and stuff like that, now whatever I have in that account, if I participate in yield, I can get passive income off of that.
If you want help actually building out your plan, join my wait list below.
I do like having a little bit of my.
So shout out to Camila Stevens, Dr. Camila Stevenson, keeping it moving. This is the last short. This is Zach Richter. What up, Silver? Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. BTM Crypto News Network. We are live. But let's go back to Zach and see what Zach has to say. Then we'll look at the bubbles.
Of Japan is stepping in to intervene in the currency market once again. We watched here as the past week has brought the USD versus JPY pairing back to the highest level since August of 2024, the last time the carry trade started to unwind aggressively. And this actually led to a 30% drawdown for Bitcoin, 35% drawdown for XRP, which is why I titled today's full update on YouTube, The Last $1 XRP Opportunity. Let me show you on the chart real quick. All right, so we're here on the USD versus JPY pairing 1 hour chart, and you can see a little bit of intervention right there, and then somebody stepped in this morning as well. But like I was warning you guys, the last time this carry trade unwound this aggressively back in August of 2024, it was a 35% drawdown for XRP. So if we do something similar, we're looking at that final opportunity to buy XRP below $1. I hope you guys are ready. Full update on YouTube. It looks like the Bank of Japan is stepping in to intervene in the currency market once again. We watched here as the past week has brought the USD versus JPY pairing back to the highest level since August of 2024, the last time the carry trade started to unwind aggressively.
So shout out to Zach. So this is the crypto bubbles. On the bubbles, we can see here Telecoin is up 5.9%. XVS is up 2.5. DEX is up 24.9. What? Lithium's up 14%. Algo actually is up 3.3. Canon Network's up 1.5, and that looks to be the extent of the pump today. Caspa's down 3%. ZK is down 6.6. Qual Network is down 3.6. Tau is down 5.8 actually. FET's down 4.6. Render's down 6.1. Zcash is down 7.6. Caspa's down 5.9. Safe is down 5.2. Helium is down 8.4. ZBCN is down 2.8 on the day, up 1% on the 4 hour, down 0.2 on the hour, down 10.2 on the week, down 18.7 on the month, and down 44.3 on the year, which is weird. I thought the pump would start at some point. XLM is down 6.2. Solana's down 5.2. XNO is down 6.2. ICP is down 4.2. Flux is down 6.2. Arbitron's down 6.6. Stronghold is down 3.2 on the day, up 1% on the 4 hour, up 0.2 on the hour. This is similar to something we just looked at. On the week, it's down 11%. For the month, it's down 3.6, and for the year, it is down 67%. Piss down 5.7. Binance is down 3.1. Pi is down 5.7. Pits is actually down 4%. Flare is down 4.2. Jasmine's down 4.1. Osmosis is down 5. HBAR is down 1.7. Nexo's down 2.5. Trump tokens down 8%. Litecoin's down 5.9. Undo's down 5.8. Ton token is down 6.1. OKB is down 5.4. Moodian's down 3.5. Metal's down 4.5. So let's look at the market movers. Bitcoin is down 2.6 on the day, up 0.3 on the 4 hour, unchanged on the hour, down 4.9 on the week, down 18.4 on the month, and down 40.7 on the year. People are saying Bitcoin might get down to 30 to 40,000. So let me know what you think. People are moving away from Bitcoin into the altcoin craze, and some people buying meme coins, but people are moving away from Bitcoin. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes, but keep an eye on that. Bitcoin, Ethereum is down 4% on the day, up 0.3 on the 4 hour, up 0.1 on the hour. For the week, it is down 6.7. For the month, it is down 20.9. For the year, it's down 31.3 to 1,664. People are saying Ethereum might not come back, but let me know what you guys think. Also, over to our favorite cross-border remittance processor, our main crypto holding the X, the R to the P at $1.10, down 2.6 on the day, unchanged on the 4 hour, up 0.4 on the hour. For the week, down 9.3. For the month, down 18.3. For the year, down 48.9. So let me know what you guys think about the X, the R, and the P. So this is Ripple can have 2,000 partners be on the same board of MiCA and XRP for world finance. And at this point, nothing matters without the clarity passing. And that won't happen while ethics being an issue. I see what you're saying, Tyron, and I know what you mean. And you're right. At this point, we are definitely trying to wait for things to change because, as you mentioned, there might be an ethical problem. And TK, you might be right about the XRP passing. There's a lot of people saying something might happen in the 4th of July, but we will see on the first week of July. That would be perfect timing. Let me try something real quick. Oh my God. I'm trying to log into my crypto and I realized that caps locks was on. Bro, I was about to wig all the way out. But we're in now. All that time it was just the caps locks. Bro, I almost panicked, but it is me, right? I feel like, man, crazy here. The whole time it was me and the caps locks. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I figured that out. But just looking at some numbers. Was going to pick up some XRP, but I want to see what we're up to before I start picking some up. What up, Dave? What's going on, fam? Thanks for joining. So this is the I'm tripping. This is the coin market cap of crypto, and currently crypto is 2.14 trillion, down 2.77. Why is it always 2.77? What the freak, man? Can we get past the 2-point-something trillion? What do we got to do to get over the 2 trillion mark? Coin market cap 20 is $167.78, down 3.18. Fear and greed is back in fear. I needed to go back to extreme fear so we can pick this up while or before the Clarity Act passes. Altcoin season is 45 at 100, so it looks like we're sliding back towards the Bitcoin dominance. XRP currently is $1.10. I'm picking some up, guys. I'm literally trying to pick it up while I'm talking to you guys and realizing I couldn't log in, but then I found out I had the caps locks on. That's kind of weird. But currently we are $1.10. 2.89% down on the 24-hour. So keeping it moving. This is the XRP terminal. Midday volume is 9.41 million. Leverage trading is 7.96. So on the midday, Bitwise is down 0.70 to $12.30. 5.3 million in today's volume. Franklin Templeton's down 0.56 to $11.96. 2 million in 24-hour volume. Canary Capital is 0.74%, $11.71, 1.14 million 24-hour volume. Grayscale is down 0.63 to $21.38. 419K 24-hour trading volume. Rex Offspray is down 2.91%. I'm glad I didn't pick more of that up. At $9.02, $213 in 24-hour trading volume. 21 shares is $10.73, down 0.72% to 44K. Leverage trading, Turcom 2X is $2.31, down 6.68%, 4.5 million 24-hour trading volume. Volatility shares 2X, $24.35, down 6.19. Wow. Leverage trading can hit hard today. 2.23 mil won, 24-hour trading volume. Pro shares Ultra is down 6.76 to $11.05, $612 in 24-hour trading volume. Volatility shares is down 2.92%, 2.96%, $6.08, 478K in 24-hour trading volume. Amplify XRP 3%, is down 5.48% to $11.05 with 48K in 24-hour trading volume. Keeping it moving. This is the XRP Ledger. 24-hour trading volume. I knew I forgot something. Just looking for, where is it? That is weird. Why is it so hard to find the dang? Why is this always at the bottom of the dang list? The list. It's weird. That's weird. So this is the XRP dashboard. This is the wrong dashboard. Actually, I'm looking for. That is weird. It should be at the top of the list somewhere. Let me see. That's weird. I can't find. I could have just typed it in by now. There we go. XRP tracker. All right. There we go. Cool. So back over to the XRP Ledger. 360.4 million, down 10.81% on the 30-day for distributed asset value. RWA count is 302. Represented asset value is 3.56 billion, down 0.64 on the 30-day. Stablecoin market cap is 932 million, up 16% on the 1630 on the 30-day. On the month, RWA holders is 142, up 69.05% on the month. Stablecoin holders is 59,300, up 1% on the month. RWA 30-day transfer volume is 106.2 million, up 212%. Talking about people aren't investing in XRP. Somebody is. Stablecoin 30-day transfer is 307 billion, down 14.6%. Moving on to the XRP trader. This is the XRP radar. In escrow is 36.7 billion. Circling supply is 64.2 billion. XRP burnt is 14.4 million. RWA or RLUSD is 6.2 billion. Exchange value is 14.2 billion. NF ETFs and indexes 302 million, which are closing close on that billion. DeFi is 368.1 million. Tokenized RWA is 2.8 billion. Treasury is 473. So go down to the actual exchanges. Upbit added 2.9 million to 5.46 billion, up 38.4%. Binance is unchanged, no shocker there. 2.2 billion, 16.3% of the on-chain supply. BitThumb is added 4.4 million to 1.85 billion. 13% of the on-chain supply. Uphold actually lost 201,000. That still leaves them at 1.63 billion, 11.5% of the on-chain supply. BitBank is 360K, 575 million, 4% of the on-chain supply. CoinCheck is 97,000, 544 million, 3.9% of the on-chain supply. eToro is down 46,000, 481 million, 3.4% of the on-chain supply. Oh, I just realized Uphold flipped up to number 4, and they are on the tail of number 3, which is BitThumb. I told you guys, somebody's buying. Crypto.com is down 1.4 million to 333 million on exchange with 2.3%. Crypto.com is moving up as well. Coin One lost 609K to 314 million, 2.2% of the on chain, and Bitflyers 34K up to 191 million, 1.3% of the total supply. This is the so value daily inflows for XRP as of yesterday is 5.13 million. Cumulative total net inflows 1.5 billion. Total value traded is 15.05 million. Total net asset is 933 million. And I actually just started looking at this. So let me, Bitwise is, what do we get useful out of this? Is there any useful numbers? Bitwise number one with 500 or 5.34 of inflows on the daily. See if there are any other relative numbers here. And this is the daily inflow, 5 million today, 2.5 million yesterday, 5.3, I guess that's last week. Looks like 7.4 million on the 8th. So I guess we'll get over to the news. Shout out to the BTM Crypto News Network. Make sure you sign up to stay current on news and events. And this is, dang it, XRP inflows. XRP ETF Watch, XRP inflows reported are still positive with weekly inflows reportedly around 10.6 million. And that's not the one I was supposed to have. It's supposed to be this one that was pinned to the comments. I don't know what happened here, but XRP, the news of the day, XRP breaking news. Ripple secured a preliminary MiCA CASP approval in Luxembourg that could open the door for regulatory Ripple crypto assets and stablecoin payments services across the European Economic Area. Big news, yes. Final license, not yet. Instant XRP prompt. The chart says, hold my red candle. So XRP news, Ripple has secured a preliminary MiCA CASP approval in Luxembourg. Let me know what you guys think about that. Back over the chat. Dave. Tyran. Tingo. Won't happen and maybe not during November elections. Democrats want Trump out of crypto dealings. We all know Trump's not giving up his bags. Ethics is the big issue. That's only. Tyron, yes. Silver, what up? My boy, what's up? What up with it, Silver? What up with it, Tyron? And I do agree. I think these guys want Trump out of crypto, and that's really what's holding back the legislation on the crypto act being passed. I think these guys are the fuck is it? Keeping it slowing it down because they don't want Trump to get money. They don't want Trump to get money on this new crypto and all his investments. So let me know what you guys think about that. Now let's get to the news. Ripple wins preliminary MiCA. I guess this is CASP approval. Core explanation. Ripple announced that Luxembourg CSSF gave a preliminary MiCA CASP approval. CASP means crypto asset service provider. MiCA is the European Union crypto regulatory framework. They're doing better than we are. The big deal is that the approval is one EU member state can have a company operating across the broader EU EEA market once final approval and conditions are complete. Think of MiCA as the rule book for crypto companies in Europe. Ripple is not trying to sneak into Europe through the back door wearing a fake mustache. They're going through the front door with paperwork, compliance, and regulators watching. So the important correction, the preliminary approval is not a final approval. That means you can say, confirm Ripple received preliminary approval. Confirm Luxembourg is the regulatory gateway here. Confirm this helps Ripple's European payment stablecoin strategy. Not confirmed. XRP is guaranteed to pump. Not confirmed. Every bank in Europe is now using XRP. Not confirmed. Final license is already issued. Some influencers saw preliminary approval and translated into Europe. Just put XRP in every ATM. No, fam. Read the article before you start naming your yacht. I don't care. I'm naming a yacht. Talking why it matters in Europe. Why Europe matters. Europe matters because XRP. Europe matters because Ripple wants regulatory enterprise payments. Big financial institutions do not want mystery boxes. They want licensing, compliance, custody, stablecoin, and infrastructure and regulatory clarity. And we have been through this several times. These guys are not going to invest big money in nothing that is not regulated, right? Not approved, doesn't have the compliance, right? Because they want to make sure if something happens, they're going to get their money back. So they're not taking no chances. They're not risking nothing. Once that approval comes in, we are to the moon. But until that happens, guys, these guys are not going to do much with the crypto until such a point where it is approved, signed, sealed, and delivered, guys. These guys ain't taking no chance. Think about it. Would you take a chance on millions of dollars? Maybe a couple thousand, maybe a couple hundred, maybe 100, maybe a few hundred. But you're talking about millions and billions and possibly trillions. You're not taking no chance. You are not risking. Most of you guys aren't even risking a couple $100. So I know for sure you're not going to risk no millions of dollars to a company that is not regulated, right? It's not compliance. So those of you not deep into finance, compliance means it has to be audited. There has to be, what is that? Reconciliation. They got to know where the money's going, where the money's coming from, and it has to be regulated. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Let me see what you guys think. So this is why the MiCA matters. It gives crypto companies a clear framework. If Ripple can operate under that framework, it strengthens the story that Ripple is not just another crypto company trying to go viral on X. Ripple is trying to build a regulated payment infrastructure. Retail looks for candles, institution looks for compliance. Ripple says, when moon, institutions say, who is your regulator? What's your license? Where's risk control? And can my legal department sleep tonight? And that kind of goes over the entire process, guys. It's got to be regulated, and it has to have a license and a control, risk control, right? The risk control is you're not out here spending money on Lambos and boats. The license is, if something happens, we can track down your license and we can sue you. And your regulator is someone that will confirm if you are being sued or not, if you're losing money or not, or if there is anything shady with the business, right? The regulator has to tell you if there is anything involved. So why holders care? Regulatory clarity can attract institutional partners. Ripple partnership expands and can strengthen the Ripple ecosystem. RLUSD can become more useful if Ripple gains more regulated condors. XRP benefits from a stronger Ripple/XRPL narrative, but prices still depend on the market demand, liquidity, volume, and broader crypto conditions. Ripple's business progress and XRP's price are connected by narrative, ecosystem, liquidity, but they are not the same thing. Ripple's winning doesn't automatically mean XRP pumps that minute, but Ripple losing would definitely hurt the narrative. So yes, this matters. RLUSD angle. Stablecoin payments are serious part. RLUSD is one of the most important pieces in the story because Ripple's positioning around stablecoin payments, settlements, enterprise finance. Ripple says RLUSD is issued on XRP Ledger and Ethereum, backed by cash and cash equivalents, and redeemable one-to-one for US dollar. That gives Ripple a regulated stablecoin story that pairs with its payments infrastructure. RLUSD is not supposed to be the meme coin of the week. It is supposed to be a digital dollar infrastructure. The boring part is the bullish part. So why does that matter? Stablecoins are easier for businesses to understand that volatile asset. Stablecoins can support settlement and payment rails. RLUSD on the XRPL strengthens the XRPL utility. A regulated European path could matter for stablecoin powered payments. RLUSD growth does not mean XRP goes to $100 tomorrow. RLUSD can strengthen the network and the payment story, but XRP still needs actual demand, market liquidity, and chart confirmation. RLUSD is the utility. XRP price is the teenager in the house. Utility is doing chores. XRP's price is upstairs saying, I'll come down when the volume gets here. Imagine that. So over to the chat real quick. The faster Trump ends this war and removes his crypto dealings, the faster we'll see price moon. Until then, save your dry powder for the no clarity dumpster crash. That's a good point, Tyran. I'm probably going to pick some up a DCA end and continue to DCA in on the way down. All third world and other countries need to get hooked up first, then the U.S. Okay, that would make sense. Would you buy a diamond if it wasn't first tested for clarity? That's a good point, right? Because it could be anything. And we don't even know what it is until it's being tested and you actually get the, what is that called? Is that a clarity report? When they tell you what it actually is? That's a good question. And that's a good point, Tyron. Thanks for bringing that up. ETF inflows. Institutional demand is real, but not magic. Reports show XRP ETFs remain positive. The so-so, that's what I was actually just looking at, really. The so-so value reported about 10.6 million in weekly inflows. That supports the institutional demand narrative, especially when compared to the old XRP story where institutional access was much harder. But here's the key. ETF inflows do not guarantee immediate price spot movement. Institutions can accumulate slowly. Market makers can hedge. The broader market can still be weak. ETF inflows are bullish evidence, not a magic candle printer. XRP inflows are like groceries in the kitchen. That is bullish, but somebody still needs to cook dinner. The breakout is dinner. Explain to normal viewers. ETF inflows mean money is entering regulated XRP products. That supports institutional interest. That can reduce available supply depending on structure and commodity, but price only breaks when demand overwhelms sell pressure. ETF inflows can build a long-term foundation while short-term prices still chop sideways. Do you think the ETF inflows matter more short-term or long-term? Type short-term or long-term in the chat. So let me add that to this. My wife says I did. You best to believe your wife is checking and probably double checking and triple checking. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. But ETF inflows matter more short term or long term. I'm saying long term. This is a long term play, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, right? The short term push, but it's not really real. Price reality. XRP says prove it. At market lookup, XRP was around $1.09 with interday high around $1.14. Let's go over to a chart. And the low around $1.09. That means the price, let me see, is this right? The price is sitting near a dangerous support zone instead of ripping through resistance. What the? Looks like Zibik is on the move. You can go back to XRP real quick. So we are at $1.09. So main levels to watch current $1.09 to $1.10 current support and danger zone. $1.05 the next downside to watch area if $1.09 breaks. $1 is a psychological support. CoinMarketCap's latest XRP update reference selling pressure and focuses on the dollar support. So I might hold off to see if we break that dollar support or if we go up. $1.14, $1.15 is the first reclaim zone. $1.18 is the next resistance zone. So this is saying on the 2 hour, we're at $1.09. We got to get back to $1.14 and $1.15 back in this area. The next resistance area is $1.18, which is all the way up here. I thought I had some lines on my chart. I don't know why the lines always disappear from the chart. If you know, let me know in the comments. For some reason, it always disappears. I don't know if it's because I'm not using the same. Actually, this is this guy. Okay, there we go. I answer my own question. How about that? So yeah, this is $1.30 and $1.40. On the 4 hour, looks like we are sliding down to $1.09. We might break down to $1. See what the 15-minute chart says. 15-minute chart says it's holding. 45-minute chart says looks like it's holding as well. 2-hour chart says it's coming down, and the 4-hour chart says it's definitely coming down on the 4 hour. So, sorry about that. $1.20, the next key breakout confirmation zone from the recent prior rally. CoinDesk reported XRP previously broke $1.14, $1.18, $1.20 during a strong volume move. $1.27 to $1.34 higher confirmation range if the market gets real volume and momentum. Right now, XRP is in the prove it zone. News is bullish, charts cautious. Bulls need to reclaim $1.14 to $1.15 first. Then $1.20. Until then, we are not calling a breakout. We're calling it a setup. XRP has good news, ETF inflows, and regulatory approval, but the chart is still walking like it left one shoe at the club. Bullish scenario for the weekend. Bull case, XRP to move up this weekend. We want to see XRP hold above the $9, $10. The price will reclaim $1.14 to $1.15 with strong volume. Buyers push through $1.18. A daily 4-hour candle closes above $1.20. Volume rises while Bitcoin and total crypto market are stable or green. ETF narrative stays positive. No fake rumor pumps followed by sell the news dumping. What would make it exciting? A clean move above $1.20 would shift the conversation from support defense to breakout attempt. That doesn't guarantee a moon, but it does give bulls something real to work with. If XRP gets above $1.20 volume, now we can start talking spicy. Not quit your job, spicy. More like check the chart twice before you go to sleep, spicy. So the bear scenario. The bear scenario is simple. If XRP loses $1.09, $1.10 area, the market may retest $1.05 and possibly the psychological dollar zone. If the price drops while the ETF news is positive, that means sellers are still in control of the short term. XRP cannot reclaim $1.14 warning sign. Volume fades. Price keeps making lower highs. Bitcoin weakens. Social hype rises, but the charts do not follow. Influencers start yelling last chance every 45 minutes. When influencers start screaming last chance every day, that usually means they're not giving you analysis. They're giving you a church revival with candlesticks. Do not chase green candles. Do not marry red candles. Have a plan before price moves, not after your emotions start driving the car. So I guess we'll go over to a couple of videos because this is all we got here. This is
morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat.
Say.
My gosh, some mornings the coffee just tastes way better than other ones. I'll tell you what, right now. And by the way,
how are you mining Pi? What is Pi on? Is that Ethereum? TK, is that actually let's look to see real quick. Because I got some idle miners I can put to work and make a slave. If let's see here, what is this? You said pi. What is pi at? Pi's down actually at 12 cents. It wouldn't be all its own blockchain. That's weird. Let me look into that. Actually, I'm gonna research that while watching this coffee chat video.
Very first sips coming out here and sharing that with you. And you guys know just how much I love coming out here in the morning. I actually really look forward to it. Maybe you don't know, but I really look forward to just coming out here, sitting down and having this time with you and sharing what we learn about XRP and all that's coming and perspective and everything like that. I just love it. You guys have made my life so enjoyable. You are the best community in all of crypto. And I really do mean that. And you've been with me now for a number of years. And so thank you so very much. And by the way, if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, hit the like or subscribe, because we're trying to get to that 100,000, the elusive 100,000, subscribers and stuff like that. And right now we have built our community up to 76,400 and some subscribers, guys. You and I, we've all done this together. It's not a David and Judy show here. We are a community, that is for sure. And so if you have not, subscribed yet, why don't you just do that? Subscribe. And by the way, hit the notification bell so that we can, you'll get notified when we put videos out. Now, I rarely, and I mean rarely, if you've been watching this channel for any time at all, ever ask folks to do that. But if you would do it, I would really be tickled pink. I'll tell you that right now. Now, guys, some amazing news is coming out, today on Ripple. So, of course, in the European Union, we have these MiCA regulations. It's kind of like European Union's, Clarity Act. And MiCA regulations, if you don't know, stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. And this is all the regulation over there that governs how these things are going to work and all this kind of stuff. And you have to get licenses to do certain things. Well, Ripple has just secured preliminary approval for MiCA regulations as a money service business in all 30 of the EU countries. And this is a big, big deal. Guys, things are being set up right before our very eyes, and it seems like almost daily we get news about it. And guess what? Well, the price of XRP just dropped to $1.10. You can't make this stuff up, guys. The better the news, the further it goes. But that's the deal. You see, that's where I think we're being just manipulated and played like crazy, because if any other asset was getting this kind of positive news, you would think you would see a major pump. Well, guys, they're just holding out for it. They're just waiting for it. I really do believe it. And when I say they, I am talking about the guys that are holding the strings to all these markets. Don't kid yourself. If you think that these markets just ebb and flow naturally and there's no influence applied, no psychology to it, no manipulation of it, no market makers doing this, that, or whatever, guys, come on, let's wake up. We know for a fact that there are big time players out there, and they are literally pulling strings and they are manipulating the markets. I absolutely believe it 100%. You're not going to convince me otherwise with the stuff that I've seen. And guys, have we ever seen some scammy wicks, as I like to call them, in this space, right? I mean, we've watched them just go down whoosh like that. And all of a sudden, the same day, pump right up, boom, like that. And they liquidate both sides of the transaction, both the shorts and the longs doing leverage. That's why you want to play smart. Most of us guys cannot play that game successfully because we don't have all the tools at our disposal. We don't have the information that a lot of these major players do, that the exchanges do. And you know what happens? They wipe you and I out if they can. And think about that, guys. They're all wanting to get at your XRP. If your XRP had no value, then you would not see all these scams trying to get at it and all of the FUD that comes out there constantly all the time. And you would not have these exchanges doing, get this, up to 100x leverage. Is that absolutely insane? But there are people who are tempted by that. And of course, you know, they treat the whole market like it's a casino, put their chips all down there, think they figured it out. They know, and bam, they get liquidated. So guys, I would really encourage you, don't participate in that kind of stuff. But what I would absolutely recommend that you do is you don't take these big time whales' advice. You follow their behavior. You stack your pennies next to their dollars, and get this. We could very well see some of those scammy wicks to go down there. And imagine if XRP hit down at the 70 to 80 cent range. What an opportunity that would represent. I mean, that would be an absolute godsend as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, I don't know if we're going to get there. But if we did, my gosh, I'm telling you what. Guys, keep some dry powder on the side and be prepared for that. Don't let yourself get freaked out and shaken out if that does happen, because they will try everything they can to spook you out of it. And imagine this. Think about this. For everybody that sells, someone else has to be buying. Who do you think will buy up and gobble up all that fear? Well, I can tell you right now, it is going to be big-time institutions and massive whales, and they will gobble it up like crazy before you can say boo. That will be gone. And the thing is this, we've watched these scammy wicks as they drop the price like that, and all of a sudden, boom, it's back up there. And a lot of people got really damaged in that one that happened in October, right? They got all liquidated. But another thing that happened is all these people that have these stop losses, you know, on their accounts, well, those stop losses got triggered and they ended up selling their bags. Well, in the very same, couple hours, the thing shot off way more than what they ended up selling for. In order to buy back their positions, they would have had to put double the amount that they got liquidated for. So be careful about where you're putting your stop losses, because they're hunting for them, guys. They're hunting for them. They do not want you to get out there and to see all of these gains like they want. I'm telling you what, guys, they're on the prowl. They're on the prowl, and they know the game. They invented the game. Come on. They invented the game, and they've been at it for decades. So don't think that you're going to outsmart them, because in most cases we're not. We're just not that sophisticated. But we don't have to play by their, you know, we don't have to be in there and literally play the same game, right? The only way to win that game is not to play. Don't get involved in that leverage stuff. I would just encourage that right there. Now, something else. When you do see these things absolutely fire off, I mean big time like that, when they go high like that, you're going to want to be thinking, hey, listen, are there some things, some goals that I could potentially reach? Like, for instance, paying off the mortgage, paying off the student loan, helping my son do this, you know, putting a wedding on for my daughter, all that. We're all going to have that. Well, guys, you're going to want to have an exit plan for that. You are. And the problem with that is during that time, most of the cases that I have seen, what happens is you got all these exchanges that get gummed up because the servers go down. You can't get on there. The market's still trading, and you have been accumulating for literally years. And the moment that you have to actually pull the trigger, you can't even get onto the firing line. How about that? Well, guys, that is where you want to get out there and get yourself a crypto broker. Judy and I, back in 2020, we saw this same problem, and we signed up with Caleb and Brown. And the thing is, it cost you not 1 red cent to sign up with Caleb and Brown as a crypto broker. And on top of that, you get assigned a real human being, and you can talk to your broker as many times as you like. Get their perspective. It doesn't cost you a penny for that. If you decide to keep your assets, you know, on their institutional grade custody platform, which they use Fireblocks, segregated, insured, bankruptcy remote, all that kind of stuff. If you wanted to do that, it doesn't cost you a penny. You're not paying a percentage to keep it on there. And so that is all available. Now, the thing is this, guys, like when this thing takes off and people are trying to actually get signed up for these things, they're not going to have the resources to onboard so many people, because of course they got that whole KYC, know your customer regulations against anti-money laundering and stuff like that. And I'll tell you right now, I would never deal with any exchange that did not have KYC. But the thing is this, you can actually do it now and not have to worry about it later. And by the way, no one's telling you have to close all these other ones. We got a link right down there in the description of every one of these videos where you can sign up for Caleb and Brown. In full transparency, use that link. they pay us a referral fee. But whether you use that link or not, guys, you owe it to yourself to literally go out there and see whether or not Caleb and Brown may be a viable off-ramp for you when you're really going to need one. Now, a lot of people put in the comments when I bring this up, David, they don't have Caleb and Brown in the UK. Well, guys, it is coming. I just got word from Caleb and Brown themselves, and we're going to be having an interview with Jim over there. And he has basically come out and said, listen, within a week or two, we're opening the doors back up in the UK. How about that? And for the Canadian clients, guys,
I'm actually about to start looking for a Pi miner as we speak, but he's right. Caleb and Brown is going to Europe. And when they get there, big shout out to Caleb Brown. They are one of the sponsors of the BTM Crypto News Network. So let me know what you guys think about that. I guess we'll finish this. What is this? 3 minutes and then move on to the next video.
I got some great news for you there too, because there is another broker on the horizon, and we are going to be having an interview with someone that you know as a great representative for them. We're going to be doing that in the next couple of days. And I'll tell you what, guys, this is a fantastic opportunity for everybody up there in Canada to get a broker where they used to have Caleb and Brown, not available any longer. That's coming too. It's going to be wild, guys. I'll tell you that. So don't let yourself get buffaloed. If we see opportunities of XRP dropping down there like that, I think, guys, that is going to be phenomenal. And just look at what's going on. These MiCA regulations, Ripple getting 30 of them there, and another big country, Japan. Japan is onboarding for XRP like insane. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put both of those articles right down in the description of the video. You can watch it there for yourself, but don't kid yourself. These deals, when you watch Ripple and you watch, all these regulatory bodies giving them that approval, guys, they're setting the system up. It is literally being put in place so that when they actually flip the switches, everything that they need is already there. Why would they have all that if they had no intention of employing it? They're not going to spend billions upon billions doing it and putting all this effort into this regulatory framework if they don't ever plan on implementing it. Think about that. That's what you want to think about, not all the FUD or where the price is or any of that. It's what's coming down the road. So I hope that really encouraged you guys. Don't let yourself get all shaken up or shaken out. Great.
Yeah, he's right, guys. Think about it. Why would they be setting all this up, right? Build it and they will come. They're not going to turn all this on without having it already set up. And they're also setting it up ahead of time, right? So when they do turn it on, everything can work together, guys. So just be patient. What is this? Ranger Partner. Best XRP quote, slowly, quietly, and then all at once. You're right. They're literally building the infrastructure up. So when they do,
the Clarity Act is the most.
When they do hit the switch, it's time to get money, right? They're not going to set all this up just to disappear. So let me know what your thoughts is on that as we continue to push forward. So let's see. I'm a little fish in a big ocean. I've been stacking a little at a time. This holds up. Just give me time to stack. Oh, Randy, it is definitely time to stack. XRP, the banker coin that is used to be a pejorative. Not sure what that says, actually. On the epitaph, and now it's bleeding edge. And we know it all along. Yeah. Okay. So, Ranger, literally, we knew when the lawsuit started. When they started suing XRP, I knew something was there, right? And people started panicking and started getting weird and started saying XRP is not going anywhere because they're being sued. XRP only got sued to slow it down. I'm not sure if people understand that. right? Whenever something's getting out of control, the lawsuits start just to slow it down. They know they couldn't stop it, but they did know they could slow it down. And that was the only reason the lawsuit started rolling in, because they had to slow it down because they didn't have control over it. So let's see what who is this? Crypto Sensei has to say.
Most important regulation bill on the planet. Is it about to fail miserably? We do have an update here from Crypto in America on what's going on behind the scenes on Capitol Hill. If the bill fails miserably or gets passed, it could be a boom for the industry either way. Just the uncertainty around the bill has held back a ton of investors. We do hear more. We also hear from Hester Pierce, Crypto Mom, about the Clarity Act, when it would become law if it gets passed. And we do have crypto lobbying groups actually pushing Congress for tax clarity on miners and stakers. There's a lot going on here. I will help you better understand it all. Let's just jump in and we'll talk about it. Clarity crunch time is here. Pro-crypto senators and industry advocates are expected to push to make as much progress as possible on the Clarity Act before lawmakers leave for a 2-week recess on Thursday. Members, meetings, and staff-level negotiations aimed at resolving outstanding issues on provisions in the agricultural text, ethics language, and illicit finance are expected to continue throughout the week. Meanwhile, industry advocates will maintain a strong presence on Capitol Hill. The Digital Chamber of Commerce will host an advocacy day Tuesday, bringing more than 50 members to meetings with senators and staffs to advocate for the passage of the Clarity Act. The group will follow that effort on Wednesday with a tax-focused fly-in, during which members will meet with House offices to discuss crypto tax clarity and recent legislation drafts from the Ways and Means Committee. The urgency to act on clarity is increasingly as the legislative calendar shrinks, Digital Chamber CEO Cody Carbone told Crypto in America. We remain committed to getting market structure to the president's desk this year, ensuring the U.S. has a robust regulatory foundation for digital assets. National, tribal, and state gaming groups are also expected to be active on Capitol Hill this week as they lobby senators to include language in the Clarity Act that would prohibit sports betting on prediction markets platforms such as Kalshi and Polymarket. Sources close to the negotiations say prediction market-related provisions are unlikely to gain traction as lawmakers focus on resolving other outstanding issues before bringing the Clarity Act to the Senate floor after the recess. So still the same issues, guys, the same stuff that we've been talking about over the last few months. Ethics is a big deal. They had a deal on ethics. It did fall apart. Both parties thought that the language in there was too strong, giving state attorney generals too much power to sue the Department of Justice over maybe a senator or a congressperson or a president who's maybe using their office to gain market share in the crypto market. We do have issues around illicit finance, and do law enforcement agencies have enough power to go after bad actors? And so they're still trying to line up everything. And also the Agricultural Committee, the CFTC side of the text that passed back in January, they're still trying to merge that with the SEC side of the bill. And that's become a little bit more challenging than they originally had thought. So those three key areas are what continues to plague the bill. And it sounds like it will continue to plague it unless a light bulb moment actually happens. Now, analysts say the Clarity Act represents a critical inflection point for institutional crypto adoption, with passage signaling a market bottom and failure risking a short-term sell-off.
Point. If this gets passed into law, that will largely be seen by many as the bottom, that this is all we needed to get the institutional marketplace, TradFi, fully engaged, because the rules of the road will be clear. If the bill fails or is delayed, then chances are you're going to see a negative reaction in the short term as people are disappointed in the loss of momentum. So that bill is a key thing, and we're going to know within a few weeks whether it's going to pass or not.
You got to remember the House was working on this for quite a long time. I mean, this goes back years with different bills that were introduced around crypto regulation. It took them over 3 years to move from FIT 21 to where they are today. The House got 70 Democrats to jump in and vote for the bill. It got to the Senate basically a year ago, and the Senate just hasn't been able to get the job.
Okay. TK, I understand Bitcoin is a Model T, XRP is an F1 racer. I understand that. I don't understand. What are we saying here? Applying OSCIS Scalers to digital asset. XRP is the new Bitcoin. Oskin's Obsidian Scalpel? Oskin's Obsidian Scalpel to digital assets. Good one, TK. Okay, I understand that. And what is this? What is this? Oskin's Scalpelty? No, let me look this up real quick. But back to the video.
Done. There's been countless meetings and hours worked and everyone trying to figure out a path forward. And we still kind of feel like we're nowhere near where we need to be to get this over the finish line. You got to remember that they were talking about getting this done back last year. Remember, like September and October, and then it became December, and then it became January, and then March.
But I told you guys last year, this is not going to pass. I told you guys in December. I told you guys in January. I told you guys in February. I told you guys in March. I told you guys in April. They're stalling this out. And they're probably going to stall this out, like someone said, until the war is over. Or they're probably going to stall it out until the after the elections. So I was just making that update. They are in no hurry to pass the Crypto Clarity Act because they know, like we know, once this passes, crypto cannot be held back. And these guys are working with the banks to make sure the bank has a asset so they don't get totally left behind. Because remember, the banks were like, crypto won't go anywhere. Famous Larry Fink. Was it Larry Fink or Jamie Dimon? I think it was Jamie Dimon. I think Jamie Dimon is over JP Morgan. I think Fink is over BlackRock. Famous quote. My clients are not interested in cryptocurrency. The very next year. Oh, my clients are pretty interested in cryptocurrency. We're trying to get some assets so they can invest in good cryptos. So it didn't even take long for these guys to switch the script. Right? And that's what I was trying to tell you guys, that it didn't take long. So that means, oh wow, large black obsidian sword. What is this obsidian? Must be super sharp. But it didn't take long for these guys to flip the script, guys. Ranger partners salute. Play on Oscars, razors, obsidian scalpels are the sharpest thing used in surgery. Meaning when you remove everything else, the simplest answer is the most true. And big shout outs to Ranger. Bro, I'm gonna have to send you a BTM Crypto News Network t-shirt. I might start doing that, guys. The best comment gets the shirt. And right now, you and Tango are neck and neck for the shirt today. But let's get back to the video, and I'll leave that up for you.
March, and then it became summer, and now it's maybe August. And so just gotta kind of put up or shut up at this point. I think most investors are a little exhausted and tired of just hearing about it. They want to see action, and I think that's what what's to be expected. Now, there was a thought here when I watched this clip. I needed to show you this because there's a lot of people that think crypto is absolutely dead if the bill fails, but that's not true. We will have probably a massive sell-off, and people will probably hate the crypto market for a period of time, but that might be the absolute bottom. Listen closely.
At a big degree, and it's one of the reasons it's so hard to bottom, you could buy AI stocks, which double every day, and boring companies like Micron become trillion-dollar behemoths. Jensen is anointing new trillion-dollar behemoths every day. I think it's Marvel now. Or you could buy crypto, where the polymarket odds say there's a 50% chance that the most important piece of crypto legislation will fail in Congress. And that's just a hard choice to make, right? Like, the market hates uncertainty more than it hates bad news.
That's true.
And that is actually uncertainty. My view is, fail or pass, I think we'll be better off when we get past the Clarity Act. because it's this sort of Damocles hanging over crypto. And I do think it's keeping money out of the market. It's one of the major things that keeping people from allocating.
That's a really good thought that most people are not even talking about or considering right now. If it fails or if it passes, either way, that might be a good thing for crypto in general, because at least we won't have the bill kind of hanging over our heads. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are saying, I'm waiting for the Clarity Act. If it gets passed, I'll go and I'll invest in crypto. If it fails, maybe that's going to be a great time to invest in crypto because everybody will hate it. And I think that really that clip spoke to me. And I think maybe, let me know, guys, if that's kind of speaking to you too. I think that's a cool way of looking at it. Obviously, it would suck to get this far and just completely fail. But sometimes in life, that's how life is, right? No matter how hard you try, no matter how much time or effort, love, support, passion, hate, anger, whatever it is that you put into something, it can completely fail and backfire on you. And then you have to rebuild from the ashes of that destruction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it does. And from a narrative standpoint, it's like, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm like, come on, man, just do this, and like you're saying, like, just do it one way or another. Just let us know. You said it last time. Clarity about clarity is what we need, because it does feel like a huge drag in it, and it feels like, it almost feels like no one kind of cares at this point. You're like, just please, just tell us what it's going to be so that we can move on.
Just make it go away. Yeah, I think that
make it go away.
Make it go away. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. Yeah, you have these things that are raising doubts. I would say Clarity is one of them. I would say quantum risk on Bitcoin is one of them. And, we've talked about the yeah, but scenario where crypto is very much an asset where if one person says, yeah, but what about, it slows down the process for weeks or months or quarters. And I think the Clarity Act is one of those, yeah, what abouts that we get asked questions about. And you have to be like, well, it's a 50-50 chance. And, you have to go through the whole thing. So I do think we'll be better off when we get to the other side.
Better off when we get to the other side. Good point. All right. If you made it this far, guys, please support the content. It takes a lot of time to put all this together for you. And I just really appreciate a like and a comment below. It does wonders for YouTube. And I really do appreciate your time as always. Everybody's asking when the Clarity Act becomes law. Wrong question to ask is about the innovation exemption. Clarity Act, House, Senate, President's desk signed textbook legislative path. The innovation exemption skips all of the SEC already has authorized to create a rule and order book. No Congress, just a commission decision. They're taking their time to get it right.
Goes to the president's desk, he signs it, and it becomes a law. When it comes to the proposed innovation exemption, how does this progress? Ultimately, who are the stakeholders that have to sign off on this before it becomes established and concrete in the regulation?
Existing laws already give us the ability to create exemptions. We can do that by rule or by order. And so it's a commission decision. It doesn't require input from Congress because they already gave us the permission to do this. So it's really an internal process. But as we discussed before, there are a lot of complicated issues here, and we want to make sure that we get it right. So that's what we're working on.
The issue with not getting the Clarity Act signed into law is the next administration could be against crypto. They could come in and really undo all of this work the SEC and the CFTC has done. And I think that's always the risk of not getting the Clarity Act over the finish line. And of course, we did get this clip I did want to play for you.
I want to ask you about spot, because you mentioned this question around spot authority and obviously Clarity, I think in the drafts we've seen would give a lot of that authority to the CFTC. Do you think that's the right approach, just given the conversation we've had so far, or would you like to see that change at all?
No, I think we've found the Goldilocks spot with this authority. I think we need to have a spot market regulator. And so unless you're going to create a new agency, which would not be politically permissible, you've got two choices. And to me, it's a runaway question. It's not even a close answer. And the CFTC has done spot authority like this in other marketplaces to the tune of trillions and trillions of dollars of nominal traffic volume, and they're really good at it.
Makes sense. You want to give the CFTC more power over the crypto market and over spot markets, and you don't want kind of the SEC butting in there. 3 crypto biggest lobbying groups sent a letter to Congress demanding tax clarity for miners and stakers. The Blockchain Association, Crypto Council, Digital Chamber, all backing HR 9175, one bill that finally settles how mining and staking rewards gets taxed. The coalition is built, the bill is ready, and now it's Congress's time to act. And so this is what the letter actually says here. You can see to the Honorable Jason Smith, Chairman of the Committee of Ways and Means, and the Honorable Richard Neal, Ranking Member. And so you can see the Blockchain Association, Crypto Council of Innovation, and the Digital Chamber are all trying to push this through. Just to give you some additional context, this letter is a coordinated industry push behind HR 9175, the Tax Clarity for Mining and Staking Act. And it's basically crypto trade groups telling House tax writers, don't water this down, pass it as it is. If it moves, it could be the first hard statutory line on how mining and staking rewards are taxed in the United States, which then becomes the anchor for wider digital asset tax and potential securities and commodities rulemaking. The signer.
One problem, even if we get clarity, specific rulemaking can take a year. Hopefully, because of this, clarity will likely be a buy the rumors, sell the news, maybe higher lows we shall see. You're right. It's going to take a long time to get this stuff actually in motion. But I think when it does happen, since it is clarity, people will pick up on it because it appears that the crypto industry will be legitimized.
Are the CEOs of the association, Blockchain Association, Crypto Council of Innovation, and Digital Chamber, writing to the House in ways they explicitly support HR 9175. And so just a little bit more. Right now, staking and mining rewards are treated as ordinary income when received, and then you pay again as capital gains at sale. HR 9175 lets taxpayers elect to defer, including those newly minted assets, into income until they are disposed of, sell, exchange, etc. That effectively ends the tax on creation, moving to tax on realization, likely many other assets. So this could be a huge benefit for taxing crypto in the future. Will they get this done? I guess time will tell, guys. And then this is kind of everywhere. The Blockchain Association and Crypto Council Innovation are urging Congress to pass the crypto and mining bill without revisions. So very rarely are they going to pass something without revisions, but there's always, I guess, a chance that it happens. And then, of course, you are seeing countries that have already passed regulation, like in Europe, where they passed MiCA, and now it's into effect. There's actually certain exchanges that are not abiding by the rules that MiCA set, and they're actually being kind of booted out of the European market. So if you are trading on platforms in Europe, you just want to make sure that you're doing the due diligence on the platform that you're using. Make sure that it is regulated. And if it's going to, be kicked out or not regulated under the EU, you might want to understand that and know, maybe I should move my assets to a regulated platform. You can do whatever you want with your money. I'm just letting you know that these things are happening and that you should be aware of them. I know a large part of our audience is in Europe and all across the world. And if it was my money, I would want it on a regulated exchange just in case something happened. I would have some type of recourse. All right. I'll leave it there. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a great day. I hope this update was helpful. I will see you in the next one.
So shout out to the crypto sensei. So keeping it moving. Where are we? We are bum. Who is this? Is this
Welcome back to
Digital
the show,
Assets?
ladies and gentlemen. We got a great one lined up. Check out these headlines, what we have for you. We have a very key deadline for Ripple, Real USD, and XRP, July 1st. We're going to go over that, but we've got even bigger news today, ladies and gentlemen. What we have is we have a report, a very important report. It's an investor presentation that specifically mentions XRP. And you know why you need to know about it? Because the people that are going to be looking at this report
and the stock market, or is there something else happening under the bridge? Plus, Senate just passed a bipartisan bill
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We got a great one lined up. Check out these headlines, what we have for you. First of all, we have a very key deadline for Ripple, Real USD, and XRP, July 1st. We're going to go over that, but we've got even bigger news today, ladies and gentlemen. What we have is we have a report, a very important report. It's an investor presentation that specifically mentions XRP. And you know why you need to know about it? Because the people that are going to be looking at this report are GSIBs. Do you know what GSIBs are? They're globally important systemic banks. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start right here. Just in, Ripple runs full-page advertisement in the Australian Financial Review, positioning itself as core infrastructure for institutional blockchain adoption across treasury management, stable coins, fiat payments, and tokenization. Look, I tell you, when I see stuff like this, I say to myself, we're watching a global rollout. That's what I believe we're literally watching here. Remember, reminder here, AUDD, Australian stablecoin on the XRP Ledger. We love it. You love it. Let's keep moving. Then there's this. New York Stock Exchange owner, ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, the parent company of the NYSE, teams up with none other than Ripple partner OKX for tokenized markets. Are you hearing this? Well, you got to start wondering if OKX is using the XRP Ledger for all this tokenization. We'll find out at some point, right? Maybe somebody knows now. I don't know. But what I do know is that Ripple is partnered with OKX and Intercontinental Exchanges too, and they're launching a 50-50 joint venture with OKX to connect traditional finance with digital assets. It will operate as a U.S. broker-dealer and futures commission merchant, giving OKX's 120 million customers access to ICE futures and NYSE tokenized equity markets. Now, you could see, this is great news on its face, but what you could see, what I see from the pullback here is the integration of traditional products like stocks and bonds and the things like that getting tokenized and brought into the world so you can buy that and digital assets directly on the platform. That's where this world is going, and it's going to go there in a hurry. Now, we also know, as a side note, we know that there are emergency meetings happening with the Senate on Capitol Hill about getting the finalization done for this Clarity Act. Let's all contact Congress and ask them to pass the Clarity Act. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. And here is none other than Sandy Call from Franklin Templeton. Shout out to Sandy. And she's going to give you the 411 here. Just take a listen to what she says, and then we'll unpack that.
A tokenized asset to settle an M&A transaction. Is that the future of how M&A deals are going to close?
100%. Why not transfer your yield with your payment? These are funds that are going to get deployed in a strategic manner, and being able to have them accumulating interest every single day is going to be completely beneficial both to the acquirer and to the target company. I think that this really is the beginning of a new re-envisioning of how do you use money in a world where transfers can be instant, where you have this increased flexibility and velocity of using tokenized forms of payment. I think that this is a harbinger of where we're headed.
No doubt about it. And she's one of the smartest minds in this space and has a great ability to communicate what she understands and sees coming in the future with the bringing of real world asset tokenization on chain, right? Now, with that, let's read what Chad Steingraber said here. Give him a follow. An M&A transaction was just done with tokenized assets. Franklin Templeton Benji. M&A mergers and acquisitions, settling means executing the final phase of a deal. It's an exact moment ownership is transferred from seller to the buyer and payment is officially cleared, also known as closing. This completes a all legal and financial obligation. We are now at the point where buying and selling property will be nearly instantaneous. Okay, this is the world changing right before our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, let's not forget that we have the connection with Franklin Templeton and Benji Fund, along with BlackRock, Citigroup, and Goldman Sachs, highlighted in Ondo video showcasing its connection to the XRP Ledger. There it is. Biddle, Benji, we got it all, right? Real USD, it's all right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and that's Brett Mullen from the XRP Ledger Foundation, former Rippler. And he was at XRP Las Vegas. Shout out to Brett. One of the nicest guys you would ever meet. There's no question about it. All right, now let's move to this because we know that's the big boys, right? And the big boys are moving to incorporate this. And we're getting flashes in the pan showing what's happening. They're showing you, look what we just did with M&As, right? Look at how we're tokenizing stocks. Everything's coming on chain. So listen to Odelia here from the XRP Ledger, Commons, I believe it is, or Foundation One. Listen to what she says here.
What does this mean for XRP holders? Do you think it's like a bet on XRP is a bet on this infrastructure for the future?
I think that first of all, the important thing to remember is that the XRP Ledger is an L1 decentralized protocol where the XRP is the bridge currency to complete a lot of the transaction and a lot of the settlements that are taking place on it. So it's kind of like, you know, before you look at it, one way to look at it obviously is an asset you hold, but from the other side, it is an extremely essential functional pillar within the wider XRPL ecosystem and with the ever-increasing list of use cases, products, and offerings that are being developed for the financial service world.
There it is. You can't say it better than Odelia did. And I just gave you evidence of how that's actually taking place, right? So it's happening, as Brad Garlinghouse has said. And now here's that key critical deadline and date, ladies and gentlemen, from Ratha Conman. It says here, key date for Ripple, July 1st. Ripple previously engaged California's DFPI for a DFAL license, noting firms can keep operating if submitted by July 1st, 2026. Public docs through March 26 don't list any Ripple entities, though likely filed. Necessary for all California offerings, issue, redeem, and custody. If we go down here a little further in Ratha Commons post here, so a DFL application license would grant Real USD a legal path to be offered, transferred, redeemed, integrated, and used in California payment or exchange activities. So this is basically a filing that allows them to continue to use Real USD and XRP for payments through California. That's what I found here. It says here, it's more about compliance to operate without interruption, right? So, but it is a key deadline because they don't want to have any interruption, okay? So just want to hit you with that. But now here comes the big boy, and the big boy is this right here. Now we got a shout out to GOAT DAI, who's found another incredible report. This is twice in 1 week. This guy can't be stopped. Shout out to DAI right there. CME Group overview, ladies and gentlemen. And what this is basically an investor presentation that he's found and uncovered. And what's incredible about this is it shows you the advantages of these new products that are available. So let me just quickly take you to this image right here. Unique assets provide competitive advantages. Competitive advantages. When you go over here, CME's group broad set of products are important risk management tools for traders and end users around the world, including, but not limited to, and it says obviously U.S. Treasury, so forth, Fed Fund. You get all of these things here. But the equity index, S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, right? Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, and yes, indeedy, XRP. What does it mean? Why is it important? And who is going to use it that would find it important? Who is this investor presentation for? These are all great questions. I know you guys were asking them from your car or your lunch break. I get it. We're going to get into it right now. First of all, let's understand this right here. The bottom line is the presentation is bullish for XRP in an institutional context. Now, that's important. And let me open this up because I know you guys will be sending me messages. I couldn't see the full screen. Okay, well, now you can. So the bottom line is that this is very bullish for XRP in an institutional context. It shows CME views XRP as a meaningful liquid cryptocurrency worthy of a full suite of derivatives, futures, options, and micro plus 24/7 trading. By including it prominently and tying it to their risk management and capital efficiency strengths, CME is implicitly endorsing the need and value for professional grade risk management tools for XRP. Now, this does not mean XRP price will automatically rise, so let's get that together. But it is a clear positive development for credibility and institutional access. And isn't that what we're looking for long-term ecosystem health? You better believe it is. Now, but there's more to go into. Oh, let me play you the first 21 seconds of Mike Higgins, the CEO of Hidden Road, now Ripple Prime, that does $3 trillion a year and is licensed to help clear and settle the other $114 trillion with the DTCC. Take a listen to this before we move forward.
Is the assets just dollars or U.S. treasuries? No, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's XRP, it's stablecoins, it's tokenized money market funds. I think that's going to be the next step, is really when you start to tokenize anything of value and use that for good collateral as margin and for settlement. So
for good collateral, margin, and settlement, right? Well, that lines up perfectly exactly with what I just read you here, right? But let's go a little further. Again, institutional use. What institutions? How big is the CME? What's the total size of the CME group? And how big are the institutions that work with the CME? These are all questions we need to know to kind of get our mind around exactly what we're talking about here. Oh, you are going to love this. First of all, CME Group's about 200 billion. Just call it around 200 billion Q1 2026, right? That's just total asset size on the platform. That's great. We love it. Institutions working with the CME Group, clearing members and participants. Yes, big boys, ladies and gentlemen, big boys. You've heard some of these names: Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of Montreal, BBVA, and others like ABN, AMRO, and plus numerous FCMs. Now, with that being said, then this caught my eye. Many are affiliates of GSIBs, Global Systemically Important Banks. Come on in, which handle the vast majority of client clearing. US GSIBs accounted for a huge share of segregated customer funds in related data. So, when the CME and the Grok and AI is telling us this is for institutional use, oh, it's a little bigger than just institutions. It's for GSIBs, globally systemically important banks. How about that one? Well, let's go a little further here, shall we? Yeah. List the global systemically important banks you mentioned, because now I'm really curious. Here's a major globally systemically important banks, GSIBs, affiliated with the CME Group clearing members, ladies and gentlemen. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Bank of New York Mellon, doing the custody for RLUSD, State Street. Other international GSIBs: Barclays, BNP Paribas, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, UBS, Societe Generale, where we have an XRP Ledger stablecoin representing the EU, right? Credit Agricole, and then so many others that are listed here as well. Look, what's incredible is, let's go a step further, because you know I'm not stopping there, is Ripple Prime that I just showed you. Mike Higgins from Ripple Prime doing $3 trillion, licenses settled $115 trillion at the DTCC. Are they connected to any of these GSIBs? You're loving this, aren't you? Because I know I was when I found it. I couldn't wait to hit the record button so you could know it too. Yes, Ripple Prime, formerly Hidden Road, acquired by Ripple in 25, has operational connections to several GSIBs, primarily through shared market infrastructure clearing settlement participation, ladies and gentlemen. Who are they? The DTCC, NSCC, FICC, which they are licensed through, which now ties them in, as we have always believed, to the globally systemic important banks like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Bank of America, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, BNY Mellon, State Street. This is who we're connected to. This is who the investor presentation is for. And we're in there as a benefit for asset and tools to help all of them get what they need as we move everything on chain with real world asset tokenization. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't be more excited, but it's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. Now, before I get out of here, I do want to tell you guys about this. It's I Trust Capital, as you know, and you want to check this out for yourself. They're matching 2% right now, so don't play around. Click the link underneath the video and get started today. Now, the other thing I want to ask very quickly is that you please hit the like and subscribe for me. I never hardly ask. And the hype button. Apparently, there's a hype button underneath any video, and after you hit the like button, I think you get to use the hype button. I don't know how it works, but if you can hit it, use that. Apparently, it does a really good job of bumping the videos. I'd appreciate it. And take a look in the description box on YouTube. Under every video, there's a great list of links of great products, as well as the DPMG Mastermind group. You're going to want to join that group because we're going to close that door soon. So make sure you click that link too and come on in. We're going into the Freedom Zone, not financial advice from me or anyone else. I hope you'll join us. Click that link and come on in.
To see what's going on in the comments. Let me see here. Before we get into, I think I want to do in cash. Before we get to that, let's check the comments out real quick. I think $100 will happen by the end of the year. Please and thank you. What is this? Don't forget Bitcoin Pizza Day. The guy who paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas, $41, worth 281 million today. Yeah, a lot of people joke on this guy and call him crazy. But if you think about it, there would be no Bitcoin without him making that transaction. So I say this guy is low-key the father of the actual transactions, right? Because before that, he made the first Bitcoin transaction, right? So there would be no Bitcoin transaction without him. There's a lot of back and forth, but I think what he did was phenomenal, right? That might not have netted him a lot of money, but it was the first actual transaction in Bitcoin. So without his sacrifice, Bitcoin technically wouldn't be worth anything, right? He proved you could do something with Bitcoin, right? That it is an actual currency. So I don't know. But I believe, let's see, what up, Mambo Land? I believe it will take 15 to 18 months to become ineffective after the Clarity Act is passed. I agree with you too, Mambo Land. It's going to take a while, right? It's not nothing that's going to be right after it passes. Things are going to explode like people think, right? It takes a long time, especially for something with regulatory clarity, right? It's not like that it's something that could, sorry, I'm actually taking some 3D print, trying to get some of the what's that called? The stand off of the printing. Printed something for my daughter, so just cleaning it up real quick. How can you tax crypto now without Congress passing the laws that's a violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 424? Tax crypto now without Congress passing laws. Yeah, I think that's also one of the main reasons. JP Morgan Chase is strangling Coinbase on purpose, 48% lower revenue year over year. Of course they are, because they don't want the crypto to put them out of business. I've told you guys over and over, this is a play for the bank, right? This whole slowing crypto down only helps the bank. The only company that benefits is the bank, because the bank saw with crypto passing, You're not going to be able to hold money in the bank, and these guys are not going to be able to make interest on your loan, right? Because you're going to take it over to crypto and make dividends on your crypto payment. And they saw that as if this passes, we're going to go out of business, right? We're not going to be able to make money on holding people's cash because they are going to take it right over to the crypto exchanges and earn interest. And there's no way we can keep up with the interest from the crypto companies, right? The crypto companies are going to give these guys multiple digits on their holdings, and we can't afford to do that, right? We can only do single digits, right? For us to make a profit on your money that the bank has, it has to be as cheap as possible, right? They cannot afford to give you any interest bearing on your loan. So keep it moving. Funny story about the Titanic, bro. You should already know, right? If you get a chance, look up who insured the Titanic and who was the major investor behind it and who got off right before the ship sailed. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. The Fed and the IRS are foreign entities. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. JPCM is cooping retail investors internationally with their ETFs, etc. Of course they are. But that's why the ETFs pass so fast, right? Anything that the bank is involved, it runs right through. Once you start challenging the bank, you get problems. So take it as you want it. I don't want the bank to come after me, but I do know, working in financial, I worked in the fintech industry for about 4 years, and I know firsthand the bank gonna make their money first, right? Out of all the stuff that happens, you're not gonna shut the bank down, right? You might slow them down, you might get ahead of the curve, but you are not gonna cut the bank out of money. The bank's gonna find a way to shut you down so they can continue to get paid. That's like the bank, low key, might be one of the most cutthroat industries out here. These guys are relentless, and I'll leave it at that. But keeping it moving, let's get to this video so we can close it out. Why is there no sound?
Coin is selling off again, sub $62,000. And of course, yes, XRP is also selling off under $1.10 again. And, you know, I can't help but to feel numb at this point. Like, maybe it's just me, but like, I don't even look at the red days and get concerned at this point. Like, I understand that this is crypto. I get that we will have these red days and, you know, we will have sell-offs like this as well. But you know, the main thing that I look at is that XRP has been selling off for over 335 days. You know, in terms of Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin's no different either. Like, if we really look at this price chart, we have been selling off for over like 266 days. But ultimately, like, what I'm really kind of looking at right now, and I know that a lot of people don't really care about this because you want to make money and you want to see the chart go crazy. I'm mainly looking at fundamentals because, like, although, yes, XRP is down. Yes, XRP is having a massive sell-off. Like, we are seeing a, 70% discount on XRP. During this entire time, fundamentals are stacking up constantly around XRP. Like, even if we go all the way back to, FTX, like the 2022 lows, we were down 85%. Do we need to drop another, 15%? Do we need to drop to 85%? If we drop to 85%, you're talking about roughly sub 60 cents for XRP. I'm sorry, but if you guys loved XRP at $3.60, you should absolutely be in love with XRP at 54 cents, which is an 85% discount. I'm not saying that we do have a sell-off like this. I'm just saying that like everyone wants to complain when the price is down, but when the price is going parabolic, everyone's like, I can't wait for XRP to crash again so I can buy it at this price. Then we hit those prices that nobody wants to buy. Everyone wants to just complain. But I'm not losing focus on what matters right now. Like even if we're looking at RSI on XRP, if you guys don't care about, looking at fundamentals or TA outside of fundamentals, RSI is at the lowest point in history on this chart on the monthly view, while fundamentals are stacked. Let's talk about the fundamentals. Let's talk about something happening right now, and let's talk about what just got announced from Ripple. So if we go back to the beginning of the year, January 14th of this year, we got an announcement from Ripple. And it was Ripple expanding their European regulatory footprint with a preliminary EMI approval in Luxembourg. Now, we talked about how big of a deal this actually was. It allowed, Ripple to tap into the European market and ultimately allow them to have their cross-border payments infrastructure scale across Europe to support institutional players there as they move from legacy technology to seamless real-time 24/7 payments. It was great. Obviously, we talked about it in depth around like how it could affect XRP, how it could affect, Ripple payments in general, and just like the green light that it provides. It was a great time. Then we also got the full EU electronic money institution license in Luxembourg as well, back in the beginning of February. Again, this was also just kind of building on top of, that announcement from January, which was great to see. But, obviously the European market is definitely a big market for Ripple. They've always been really kind of locked in on the EU region, as well as even the UK region, and it's for good measure. Now, I say that at the same exact time that we have been noticing in the EU, MiCA providing a lot of problems for names like even Tether. Now, I do want to come back to that because, again, like when we look at Tether and when we look at RLUSD is 100 times smaller. It's actually even over 100 times smaller than Tether right now. Tether has $186 billion in market cap. RLUSD has $1.6 billion in market cap. The divide here is absolutely insane for a company that barely is transparent at all, doesn't want to have a full audit, compared to a company that is fully transparent, giving out monthly attestations around RLUSD, fully regulated, already has massive licenses globally, but it's 100 times smaller. If that doesn't provide you with enough information on where RLUSD is headed, I don't know what will. But I want to come back to this because this comparison is very important at this moment. Because we just got this announcement from Ripple. More licensing momentum. Ripple, and this is at 3 a.m. today, Ripple has secured its preliminary crypto asset service provider CASP license in Luxembourg, paving the way for the full rollout of Ripple payments across the EEA and full MiCA compliance. The next wave of regulated digital asset adoption in Europe is here, and it's powered by Ripple. This is a monster of an announcement because of a few reasons. We're going to come back to those reasons, but then the main thing here is that this is a full rollout. This builds on top of those two prior announcements, on top of the fact that this is at the same time that MiCA is causing a lot of problems for other companies in the space. Now, if we go over here to Casey Craddock's post, we have preliminary approval of our CASP license. Once fully approved, European banks, financial institutions, and fintechs will be able to access our end-to-end crypto asset and stablecoin payments infrastructure through a single regulated integration. The next wave of institutional digital asset adoption in Europe is here. Like I said, this is very bullish for RLUSD, very bullish for XRP, and yes, for Ripple as a whole. Bank XRP said that Europe didn't just open a door for Ripple, they opened the floodgates. MiCA clarity hit different. Banks and fintechs stopped asking when should we engage and started asking how we can scale. And Ripple just handed them the answer across all 30 EEA countries. The infrastructure is live. The licenses are stacked. And yes, 30 European Economic Area countries under MiCA are now able to tap into the complete platform that Ripple offers. Here we have from Ripple. Ripple secures preliminary MiCA CSP license enabling full-scale payment services across Europe. Here we have down here that Ripple, the leading provider of blockchain-based enterprise solutions across traditional and digital finance, today announced it has received preliminary approval for its crypto asset service provider license from Luxembourg's Commission des Surveillance du Secteur Financier under the EU's Markets in Crypto Assets regulation. The preliminary approval in the form of a green light letter is subject to final conditions. It will enable Ripple to scale regulated crypto asset services to financial institutions and also businesses across all 30 countries of the European Economic Area. The CSP license, combined with Ripple's existing EU electronic money institution license, the EMI one that I just talked about over here, will mean that European banks, fintechs, and corporates can access Ripple's full crypto asset and stablecoins payment infrastructure, collect, exchange, and pay out through a single integration for the first time. The license also positions Ripple to expand into broader crypto asset activities in the region as it continues to meet growing European demand for digital asset services and also infrastructure. Europe is already a leading region for Ripple's products with a client base that spans some of the largest financial institutions. MiCA has helped to unlock a new wave of institutional digital assets adoption, and we are seeing that demand accelerate across the region. Financial market infrastructure is moving on chain from cross-border payments and settlement to collateral management and tokenized assets. And banks and fintechs are actively building the digital asset capabilities that they need to remain competitive. With our existing and growing European presence, regulatory track record, and institutional grade infrastructure, we are ready to meet the moment and support that transition at scale. So, yeah, this is definitely a big one. And of course, upon full approval, these combined CSP and EMI licenses will make Ripple fully MiCA compliant. This follows Ripple's receipt of its EMI license and crypto asset registration from the UK's Financial Conduct Authority in January of this year. Ripple holds more than 75 regulatory licenses globally, making it one of the most licensed crypto companies in the world. And of course, Matthew Osborne, the UK and Europe head of policy at Ripple, added that we are grateful to the CSSF for its constructive approach throughout the licensing process. Luxembourg has established itself as a leading center for financial services regulation in Europe, combining deep supervisory expertise with a clear, proportionate framework for digital assets, making it the natural regulatory home for Ripple's European operations. Yeah, this is a very exciting time. We are starting to see everything stack up for Ripple. The global presence here is kind of crazy. Like, I have been noticing, like, I'm not too sure if we could see it from their blog post here, but I have been noticing a lot of big moves globally to really kind of accelerate everything from Ripple's point of view. Like, if you guys have noticed, they are starting to really kind of move in some areas, like even Africa, right? Like, they started to move in Africa recently in a big way. We also know that Australia is definitely on the map as well. The UK and also Europe are becoming, a main area for Ripple. It's kind of crazy. Again, like, people are just avoiding what's really going on here because of price action. And like I said, like, although, yes, price action is definitely rough to see. We hate to see it like this. The main thing that I'm looking at is, like, it does feel very depressive. Like, it feels like 2022 in terms of, like, the lows. But we know what happened after 2022. But the fundamentals here are so stacked. It feels like we are moving away from the traditional cycles and more utility-based. Which means that XRP is even more bullish this time around than any other cycle prior. I'm not saying that we are going to instantly pump to the upside, but I definitely think that we are getting closer to the bottom than what most people realize. And before people realize that the bottom's actually here, it will be too late for them to actually buy at some significant discounts. I'm not saying to go out and, throw everything into XRP right now, but I'm saying, like, everyone, loved XRP when it was pumping, but now they hate that it's, dropping in value. Guess what? It's cycles. It's how everything works. It's investments as well. You can look at like some of the best companies in the world and yeah, they fluctuate in value. But looking at a few other posts, it's not just, RLUSD, Ripple, and Ripple payments with XRP being tapped in this list. It's also pieces of Ripple like Hidden Road. Big shout out to Smoke Dog for this. We have here Ripple's Hidden Road is on the official MiCA CSP authorization list as well. This is documented. Yeah, large pieces of Ripple are locked in already with MiCA. And this is at the same exact time that, like I said, a lot of companies are actually having a lot of issues with MiCA. Tether is one of them. We have over here that Europe gave crypto firms 18 months to get licensed. 1,200 tried, 200 made it. July 1st, the doors close. Unlicensed platforms face shutdowns or fines up to 5 million euros. Binance pulled its application. Tether is getting delisted across major exchanges. $100 billion in crypto market cap is about to get reshuffled in one of the world's largest economies. This is not a warning because it's already happening. And yeah, it's not a big surprise that Tether is getting delisted. It's not a big surprise that Tether's having a hard time. I've talked about Tether on multiple occasions. Regardless of what your opinion on Tether is, it's pretty clear that Tether's getting delisted in Europe on multiple exchanges, but also Tether had to relaunch a new stablecoin called USAT in the US because they couldn't be transparent with USDT. Like this is crazy to me. Like, why are we launching another stablecoin, another dollar-backed stablecoin, when we already have USDT? Oh yeah, that's right. Because they could not provide everything that they needed under Genius. Because USDT is not transparent. It's not compliant. This is why I brought up RLUSD compared to Tether. RLUSD is 100 times smaller than Tether, but it is so much more bullish than Tether in the sense of it's more prepared for what's about to hit. RLUSD is regulated under MiCA. Ripple is regulated under MiCA. Pieces of Ripple, like Ripple payments, Hidden Road as well, which is, again, like that's like the bread and butter for Ripple with XRP. Like all of these pieces are already cleared under MiCA. So what do you think is going to happen when we start to see stablecoin payments and stablecoins in general in Europe start to scale? When Tether doesn't even have the green light. A large portion of that volume and value, in my opinion, is going to start to reshuffle into other assets. Maybe not all of the value will go to RLUSD, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that right now we're looking at $1.6 billion in market cap. We could easily start to see this really climb. This is also at the same exact time that XRP is almost making up majority of the supply compared to Ethereum. We've still been seeing the supply growing on XRP compared to Ethereum in the last 30 days. And also the transfer volume, it's down a little bit right now, but that's to be expected. But prior, this was up in a big way, but we're still at $3.3 billion. I'm definitely focused on this. I'm watching stablecoin, volume and growth because this is definitely a huge factor in the market right now. But ultimately, this is all happening at the same exact time that price action in the market is horrible and not a lot of people are actually paying attention to this. I think that this is a big mistake. I think that when we look at the fundamentals, we will come back maybe in, just a few months and say it was pretty obvious that was, the bottom or at least close to it. But this is definitely a huge move from Ripple. I think that this is awesome. Again, Ripple has been on an absolute tear, paving the way for their crypto-based products, including even products based around XRP and even RLUSD, which I'm very happy about. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, from Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.
So, as always, I guess we will shut it down unless you guys want to check out Moneymaker. if you own XRP, doesn't that make us the new banks? Of course. The most disturbing difference between RLUSD and the CBDs is CBD's ability to give tax restrictions, purchases, and geofencing, block or take Tritarian programmability. Really? I still say $100 by the end of the year, mainly because the rest, well, most of the world is not stuck in an insane political quagmire. Massive world adoptions happening right now. And you are right? As the adoption continues, we're slowing down. So once we hit full speed ahead, it's going to get crazy. But thanks for joining. Here's the BTM Crypto News Network take. Ripple's European approval story is real. This is not fake hype. This is serious regulatory So I don't know what happened there. It's weird, but I guess we'll go ahead and shut it down. I had to restart the browser. I don't know what happened. There's always something weird once you get to the 2-hour mark. So I guess we'll shut it down. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, here's the BTM Crypto News take. Ripple's Europe approval is real, and this is not fake hype. This is a serious regulatory development that stretches Ripple's long-term payments and stablecoin strategy. ETF inflows support an institutional demand narrative. RLUSD gives Ripple a stronger utility story, but XRP price has not been confirmed yet. The news is bullish, but the chart says prove it. Ripple got a green light. XRP price is sitting at a red light. Now we watch which one changes first. So thanks for joining. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. Miners out.